I have 3 different slides of photos that we are going to work our way through. Now, you'll have to stick with me for just a little bit because I wrote all of the notes and then I was like, hey, I should add pictures. But like the pictures I put kind of in a different order. So just hold with me. First of all, obviously this is the wedding of the summer for the hockey world, just because they are the biggest names when you think of outside of the world of hockey. Because, you know, remember back to, they had that whole spread about their new house, the house that had like barely any furniture and was kind of stark and barren, but I'm assuming that was just for the magazine. So this is going to be the biggest wedding until next summer when Leon Draisaitl and Celeste Hardians get married, because they are besties with the McDavids. So I am going to put, here is slide 1. So the first picture, we have got Lauren in, I'm going to say, I love this dress of hers. I love it. So they had a rehearsal dinner on the first day. This whole wedding took 4 days. And actually, like, it was 4 separate events. And they even, before, it took 10 days to set everything up before the wedding. This is an event. This is a thing. So this first one, she's wearing this beautiful dress, and it's like a plunging neckline. She's got a beautiful diamond necklace, and it's because their rehearsal dinner, they had it on a steamboat, and the attire called for old money themed attire, which I think she is pulling off. And apparently Connor in this picture, he is wearing a green linen suit. I zoomed in on this picture, and I'm going to say it does not look green to me. It looks kind of tan. So I don't like, but there was no other pictures of him in a suit that looked greener. So I don't know what kind of green this is, but it also has a striped tie. Like I like it. I like it. But this first picture, it very much looks like my husband ordered pickles with his sandwich, or he said medium well, and this is medium. Very much giving off that vibe. And you know what, Lauren? Go for it, because I feel like sometimes while Connor has been coming out of his shell a little more, I do feel like he would not, insist that they redo part of his meal or anything if he had asked for something specific. But I feel like Lauren would want to be like, excuse me. And I hope that she could do it without, just like in a super respectful way. Now, the second picture, this is actually after their vows. So like I said, we're going a little out of order. They went on a little boat ride by themselves, which is such an awesome idea. This whole event took place at their lake house. And like, it was all centered around islands and I don't know, beautiful. But you can see that she is wearing, this one is her wedding dress that she wore to the actual ceremony. And it's very plain, but at the same time, it isn't. Like, it's just structured in a way where the neckline is really, really unique. Like, it is not a sweetheart neckline. It is not just a flat strapless. It's kind of, it goes up at the armpits. I don't know. It's really good. I liked it. And she has this very long but very see-through veil that kind of just makes it. So the middle picture, they're in the boat. Again, incredible idea to get a moment alone with your spouse. And then in the last picture on this slide, this is the picture where, like, Connor a lot of times have been accused of being a hockey playing robot. And like, maybe I've said that. I definitely have said that. But this is why we think that, because he's just got this blank expression. And Lauren looks so beautiful, but she also looks like she's just kind of like, I mean, it's probably been a long day at this point, depending on when they took this picture. Even if it's before the ceremony, it's already been a long morning. She just looks like she is zoning out. So they look like they are just like, they have checked out. They're just mentally preparing themselves for the 10 gajillion other events that they have for this wedding. So we're going to go to this next slide. Now, first of all, there is this overhead picture, and it shows they've got this gigantic house, of course, on an island. And they actually built a giant floating dock to hold not only kind of this little, it looks like a little space where you would have your cocktail hour. There's a couple like umbrella stands. It's kind of almost like a little waiting area. And then it extends out into the water for where they're sitting for the ceremony. And there's got to be, I would say a good 250 to 300 people in this audience, I would guess. I mean, this is not just like, oh, we nailed a couple of pieces of wood together, like let's sail down the river. This is legitimately a gigantic floating dock. And they made all of this. It just blows my mind that people can do this. Not only people can do this, but like that they can just be like, oh, hi, it doesn't matter what the cost, like we can pay you whatever you want. This is my vision. It must be wild to be rich. So I have another picture in the middle that just kind of shows her wedding dress again. It's actually a really cute picture. Connor is facing away, or like she's coming up behind him for a first look photo. That's what I'm trying to say. And this kind of shows what he wears for the wedding. So as a man, of course, he only gets like 2 outfits, whereas she gets like 5. But it is a nice, just custom tuxedo, bow tie, all the good stuff. And then you can see kind of a full length picture of Lauren's dress. But so after, I'm getting my notes here. I made notes, you guys. So after the ceremony on the floating dock, then they have a cocktail hour and dinner. And she wears this gorgeous form-fitting, I don't even know. It's almost like a beige tan color, but it's got all of these sequins and they look like ivy. And she was like, I wanted it to reflect all the wildlife around the space. And she actually said something about how she wanted each event that she's hosting to have its own story and its own feel. And wow, like I wish I had so much money that I could also do that, because that sounds incredible, especially when you don't have to do the work yourself. It's one thing if you're like, yeah, I want my wedding to feel like this, and then like you have to do all the crafts and it's not fun anymore. But to be able to tell people like, here's what I'm thinking, and they do it, and then you're like, wow, this is great. I would love that. And I'm going to hold up here just for a minute because I've still got this picture of their lake house up. Apparently, so this is where Connor actually proposed to Lauren. But so in the article I'm reading, I'm really confused. Here she said Connor was playing their favorite song, Only Love by Ben Howard, on guitar, and he proposed. Okay, does that mean that Connor was playing it on his guitar? Because then I Googled and I was like, does Connor McDavid play an instrument? And he actually, like, not that long ago answered a question that was like, I don't play any instruments. So I'm assuming they mean that they had a recording of this artist playing it on guitar while they proposed. Like, it's written in such a weird way. Because at first I was like, oh, that's so cool. I didn't know that McDavid played guitar. But like, I don't think he does. I think they just phrased it in like a super, super weird way. All right, so I've got one more little thing. I'm looking to make sure that I didn't forget anything. So here we have a couple of interesting photos. Now this one in the middle is what Lauren wore to the welcome dinner. Now here's the thing. Day 1, everyone gets there. That's like part of the wedding rehearsal dinner. Day 2, all the rest of the guests come for the welcome dinner. And then day 3 is when they have wedding ceremony, cocktail hour, dinner, and an after party. And then like I know the 4th day they were still there like doing a bunch of things. That's when they were like jumping into the water in their bathing suits. Whoever follows them on social media will know what I'm talking about. But so this middle picture is what she wore to the welcome dinner. And from what I could tell, it's almost like a strapless white leotard with a sheer dress over it. Like, I don't know how I feel about it. I don't hate it. It's a really interesting choice. I mean, I have to give it to Lauren Kyle for being willing to like take risks, because she did, but like, I think they paid off. So, and you know what? If I had to sit and pick 5 different dresses for my wedding week, I would try and be a little unique too, First, we're going to talk about the last dress in her wardrobe, which she wore to the after party, because apparently you're supposed to have an after party after your like dance which I did not. My after party was we rode the little minibus back to the hotel, and then I took 60 million bobby pins out of my hair, and then I fell asleep. But she's wearing this little mini dress, and it's hard to tell in this picture, but it's actually like an ice blue. So she was using that as like her something blue, something old, something new, something borrowed, something blue. But there is this really interesting story in the magazine where they originally were looking for some like vintage dress that had been on the runway, like Kate Moss had worn it, and they called all over the place, and they were looking and they couldn't find it. So then they had this other dressmaker make kind of, I don't think it's an exact like replica, but like a similar dress. And then like 2 weeks before the wedding, she gets a call that like, hey, we found it. So I really respect what she did. She wore the original one just for kind of like coming into the after party pictures. And then she changed out of it just to make sure that it stays safe. And then she put on kind of her similar replica dress. But there's one other thing that I want to talk about. And that is the idea. I feel like if some people that listen this is going to come so out of left field for you that you're not even going to know what you're listening to. There have been this idea on social media that the McDavids and then Leon Draisaitl and his girlfriend are in a polycule. Now they're definitely in a platonic one. Like, I'm going to say that because you tell me why there's a picture of Lauren and Celeste. So they're besties, right? And it's like Celeste has her hand on Lauren's thigh, showing off her engagement ring. And then Lauren has her hand on top of it, showing off her ring. But it kind of looks like we're at a wedding where they married each other and they're showing their rings from each other. Like, it's this very strange vibe. Like, I love my best friend. Her name is Amanda. I love her so much. We did not take a picture like this at my wedding. I don't think we even took anything close to this. It's just it's a very unique thing. I get like, okay, because this, from what I can tell, this was in Vogue Australia. It's like such a random thing, but it was. And I'm sure that maybe they were like, let's show off your ring, Lauren. But like, I find it a little weird that she was like, sure, but I also want to show off my bestie's ring. Like, we're in this together. So some people have joked that Lauren and Celeste got married this summer, and then Connor and Leon are getting married at the Draisaitl wedding next summer. I do think it's hilarious. Obviously, this is a joke, right? This is a joke. Sometimes they are just like weirdly obsessed with each other and like dependent on each other. It just feels like they are always together. Like they come as a foursome. They do not come as two separate couples, which also goes into the last picture on my little slide here, where Connor and Leon are picking up Lauren in her mini dress, which is like really kind of that's bold. You got to watch out if you're wearing a mini dress. So hopefully this has been informative for those of you who are not on the vibes side of Twitter that I am. And I am going to leave it there. So until next time, when hopefully I will have more hockey to talk about, we will see. We're scraping the bottom of the barrel here, folks. So anyway, everyone out there, you have a great day, and I will see you all soon.